Nathan, can you believe it? We've got two cars that actually compete. I'm driving the 2014 Honda Accord Hybrid.
And I'm driving the 2014 Toyota Camry Hybrid.
And these cars represent...
These cars are the most iconic cars in their class. They're some of the best sellers, and they compete directly against each other.
Hybrid versus hybrid, Japanese versus Japanese, Roman versus Nathan. Before I tell you what's under the hood, let me tell you what's not under the hood and what makes this car so revolutionary. There is no transmission in this Honda Accord Hybrid. In fact, it has not one, not two, but count them, 3 drive modes. It can drive, and for very short periods of time, in EV mode only, where the electric motor is powering the front wheels. The engine, which is a 2-liter Atkinson cycle, can, using a clutch, also power the wheels, or, and this is the way it drives most of the time, the engine serves as a power plant which charges up the battery, which then generates the power for the front wheels. So in other words, this works like a Chevy Volt. Now combined, this system has 196 horsepower and 226 pound-foot of torque.
This is a familiar power plant to anybody who's seen this Synergy drive system. As a matter of fact, we recently did a Toyota Avalon with exactly the same hybrid power plant. Combined, it puts out 200 horsepower and 199 pound-feet of torque. So not as much torque as Roman's. And it's hooked up to a continuously variable transmission. So this is the same system that's been around for a while. It's very reliable, it's robust, but I don't think it's much of a match for the new Honda.
What I find completely astonishing is that the old Honda system was basically an electric motor sandwiched in between the transmission, a very weak electric motor. This system has completely leapfrogged Toyota, and the proof is in the pudding. A combined 47 mpg, which is just astounding.
It's very difficult to tell the difference between this Honda Accord and any other Honda Accord. That's not such a bad thing, because do you really want it to scream hybrid? There are badges on it on the sides and on the back. But what I really like, the front end, it has the jeweled headlights, and they're not like crazy ones like the Acura uses. No, these are 2 little jeweled things in there. It looks good. The rest of the vehicle looks tapered, it looks proper, and frankly, I think it's the more attractive of the 2 vehicles.
I'm with Nathan on this one. I think if you look at the Accord, it looks modern, it looks fresh, it looks elegant. And when you put it up against the Camry is starting to look a little bit dated, even though it's only a couple years old. Obviously, Nathan, what makes this car extremely unique is that there is no transmission.
Yeah, this thing is closer to a Volt than most of the other cars we drive.
Yeah, basically it can be driven like a Volt. Now there is an EV button, but I've been trying to use it. Let me see what happens now. EV mode not available, engine too cold. And even when it is available, if you even breathe on the accelerator, it deactivates it. So it has a very limited EV range. Basically, it drives like a hybrid. Yeah, but watch when I floor it. There goes the EV.
Well, yeah, of course it's going to go away.
Yeah.
Now, this thing actually has some pickup, though.
It does. It does. It does have some pickup. And the really nice thing as we kick this corner pretty quickly is that it has reactive suspension. Shock absorbers, basically.
That react to your driving and actually adjust. That's really cool. You know, I hate to sound like I'm just constantly throwing accolades at the Honda, but this is just so much nicer. It's quieter, it rides better. It just feels like a regular Accord, and that's a good thing.
I'm impressed. This is a really nice place to drive, to sit, to be in. They've upped the quality, I think, and taken it to the next level. Everything I touch, including the steering wheel, is soft materials. This kind of dark piano black finish on a lot of the accent bits is just really elegantly executed. The seats are comfortable. There's plenty of headroom. I really like the way that they've designed the dashboard. There are a few too many screens, but that's an issue that Honda has had and continues to have. But overall, this feels like a much more expensive car than a car that starts out at just $30,000.
I'd say more exciting than a lot of the vehicles in this class.
Heck yeah. Yeah, probably the most exciting of all the vehicles in this class.
Yeah. I would agree with you 100%. And then it goes back to a couple things. I have a couple minor issues with the Accord. I've never liked this center infotainment knob thingy-mabobber. I just can't, I hate it. But other than that, I really can't find anything negative about this car. It's really well done, and Honda's kicked ass. Good for them for making a car that gets 50 mpg, and oh, it's just... wow.
It's phenomenal. It's just,
wow.
It's amazing. And actually, I really like this control layout for the dashboard. You've got a little battery meter. You've got a little fuel gauge meter. It's telling me exactly where the power's coming from, which of course Toyota does as well. And then it gives me a little leaf reading as to how I'm driving. Nathan, how does the Camry hybrid drive?
It doesn't drive like a Camry.
No?
No, it doesn't. When you drive most hybrids, you have to get used to the CVT, the continuously variable transmission. That's the first thing. Second thing is, in terms of how much power is delivered, a little bit is doled out through the electric motor with the engine. So, in terms of its overall feel, I've driven 4-cylinder and I've driven 6-cylinder Camrys, and it doesn't feel like either. It feels like kind of like an overgrown Prius.
Toyota has vastly improved the interior of the Camry throughout the line. In this particular case, we're talking about the hybrid. So, inside it has some nice soft touch materials, and it doesn't really feel that cheap. You still know it's a hybrid because there's lots of readouts and whatnot that tell you that. But in terms of it being an interior that can compete with the Accord, you know what? I think the Accord seats are more comfortable than these. They kind of feel a little stiffer than I'd like. And in terms of cushion size, my big American ass just doesn't quite fit on there comfortably.
0 to 60 in the brand new Honda Accord Hybrid. Once again, we're a mile above sea level, which means it's going to be affected even though it's partially electric, but there is less air density up here, so subtract a second about if you're at sea level. And I'm just going to floor this guy because, well, that's all you can do. I'm out of eco mode, there's no sport mode. Here we go, floored! Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm impressed. And there we have it, 60. And of course the engine just kind of droned the whole way, but you know what? You can't argue with success. 8.21, 8.21. And I'm betting that would be significantly faster if you were at sea level. .22. That is phenomenally consistent. Just a hair off the last one I did, which says to me that this computer is controlling this car so that we're getting consistently repeatable times. Check this out, dude. 8.21, 8.22.
Damn!
Damn, that is consistent. That is a computer saying this car is going to do the exact same time after time after time.
That's pretty impressive too. Actually, there are a lot of regular cars that can't get that time up here.
Yeah, so the question is, can you beat 8.21?
Well, let's go find out.
Okay.
So, I'm just gonna go flat and take off.
I have to beat basically 8 seconds. I don't think it's going to happen up here. Here we go. It feeds, it kind of, there it goes. It's actually pretty quick. Well, that's surprising. There's no sport mode in this car, so basically you're stuck with what you have. I don't have the air conditioner on. The heat's not on. I basically have nothing on other than the basics. And 8.77 for my first run. That's not bad. I'll try it again. Actually, this thing does have some acceleration, you know? Moves. Alright. .76. Not as fast as his car, but not as slow as I thought it would be. I honestly thought that this was going to go about a full second slower.